everyone, and welcome to Chromatic Knits. My name is Michelle, and I'm so glad to have you here today. This is episode 8, I think. Oh my gosh, what is time? So it is September. Can you believe it? I know it's been September for a couple weeks, but part of my brain just clicked that it's fall. As we started decorating, putting up all the fall stuff in our house. So we have pumpkins, we have a cool fall wreath, and we have this sign on our door that's a hedgehog, because I used to have a hedgehog and I love hedgehogs. On the front door it says, "It's fall, y'all." Love it. Super cute. Are you guys decorating for fall? I would love to know your decoration ideas because we love to decorate for the season. So let me know if you have any good ideas down there in the comments. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so happy to have all of you here. And we made it to 20 subscribers. Can you believe it? I'm so excited. So we're going to be doing another giveaway. So I will be giving more information about that at the end. So stick around for that. Talking about giveaways though, remember we have a make-along going on, the Finish It make-along. So make sure that if you are finishing anything, so it can be a whip, but it cannot be more than half done. Okay, so if it's a pair of socks, you can only have one sock completed before the make-along started, and then you have to finish the other sock. So it's all about getting those things off the needles and getting them done. So whether it's to get you prepared for holiday knitting, to get you prepared for the Stephen West knit along, Mystery Cal, so excited about it. This is your chance to get those things off the needles, out of those long-standing whip bags, and free up some needles and some bags. And get some stuff done. So it's not just knitting though. It could be knitting, it could be crochet, it could be painting, it could be pottery, it could be bead making, it could be anything. Art crafty. It could be one of those like gem art things. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like way too ADHD for this. I've seen those ads like on Instagram and I was like, yes, I'm gonna do that. That looks amazing, especially because there's one of Hogwarts. Again, nerd. So I was like, yes, that looks amazing. I'm going to do it, especially during like quarantine and COVID and us staying at home and all of that. I was like, that would be a great project. And then I was like, Michelle, you can't even handle a 100-piece puzzle. How are you going to do like a bajillion gems to make an image? Like, I can't. Knitting is one of the only things that keeps my attention. Like, my ADHD is like, oh, look, we did that for 5 minutes. Like, squirrel. Like, the hyperfocus is sometimes there, sometimes not. It's a blessing and a curse. So, yeah, anyway, so it doesn't matter what the art or craft is. It just has to be something that you're completing, that you're finishing, right? It's the Finish It Mal. Now, where do you post these things? So we have a Ravelry thread, and Ravelry in the Chromatic Knits podcast group on Ravelry. However, I know that not everyone is using Ravelry for various reasons. You know, some people, it's because of the new, well, I guess it's not super new now, but the new-ish format and all of that, colors and all of that they have going on. So if you're not using Ravelry, make sure you're going on Instagram and you're using the hashtag #FinishItMal. Okay, so I will be pulling at least one winner on September. So the deadline is September 30th. Okay, so it has to be in there by September 30th, otherwise it doesn't count. So make sure you get it in there by September 30th. So it has to be either on Instagram or in the chat. I haven't decided yet how many prizes I'm going to give, and part of that decision is going to be how many people participate. So if a lot of people participate, there's going to be more prizes. If there's like one person that participates, there's only going to be one prize, right? Obviously. So it really just depends on you guys. And so we'll see. You know, the prize is going to be yarn. Yeah, or it could be yarn. It could be notions. It could be various things. So, most likely will be yarn though. So, be on the lookout for that. We only have a few days left. Today is September 19th, Sunday, so we have 11 days left. So make sure that you're keeping track, because I'll remind you next week. But then after that, it's over. So it's coming up quick. If you have any questions about that, please, again, pop it below in the comments. I always love reading your comments anyway, so if you want to pop anything else down there, go for it. I loved seeing all of your comments about tea. That was great. 10 out of 10. I always appreciate that. So, I have been doing some knitting this week. So, a little bit of house drama, but I think it's mostly sorted out now. We might just be able to, like, live here. And it would be amazing. Oh my gosh. It's felt like forever since we were able to just, like, chill and enjoy the fact that we are in a house. But we did it. I think we're there. I think we're almost there. We have one more thing this week that we need to take care of, and then I think we're almost there. Could be a miracle. Okay. But to keep my sanity, I did a lot of knitting this week, and I finally finished one of my bigger projects that I've been working on for forever, which is I think it goes this way. Let's see. That's the side. So it's got to go like that. There we go. All right, it's finally done. This is my Nightshift shawl by Andrea Maury. It is finally done. So we still get those stripes through it. See, like, the different colored stripes through it. So, like, what you're supposed to do is buy 6 skeins of yarn and then follow the pattern and the color designations. However, I didn't do that because I was watching the 4th Star Knits podcast, and she was like, hey, I got this hot tip that basically says you don't have to do that. And I was like, what? Just so that you can see the whole thing. It's massive. So it goes my whole arm span, and I'm 5'2". So if that helps you. Okay. So what I did instead was I got 2 skeins of Nora Wakari yarn, which comes in, which is a worsted weight, which is what you need for this pattern, yarn. And basically it's variegated, but it's variegated like in chunks. So like there'll be like one color, and then it'll switch to another color, and then it'll switch to, it's like chunk, 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 which is how you get those sections. So I had 2 balls. I don't know the colorways. All the tag information was not in English, and I don't know how to read. I'm assuming Japanese? Don't know. Don't come at me if that's wrong. So I ended up with this much left of my second color. And yeah, this cake, so I pulled it from the center, so it's like imploded on itself. But this is how much I had left of the first color, or the second color, sorry. The second color. So this is like all those little blips in between. And then I had a second skein, which is the colors that you see in the stripes. Okay, and it's the color. So at the end, you're supposed to do an I-cord bind off alternating between the 2 colors. I was like, I do not have the patience for this. And the last color ended up being kind of like a white anyway. So I was like, you're not really gonna see it anyway. So instead of like doing that, I was like, oh, I'll just use my second color. So this is how much I had left. So I won. Yarn chicken. I won. I almost didn't win, but I won. So this is like less than 5 grams. This is like maybe 2 to 3 grams of yarn, but I made it. So if you ever decide to use this yarn, and I may have been short a couple rows, so I may not have made it. And honestly, I probably would have just pulled from the outside of the other skein and just hoped for the best for the last bit. But yeah, I was like, I'm running out of yarn. We're done. Binding off. Done. And it's already huge anyway, so it's fine. But the only thing about this yarn is that the thickness is not very consistent. So you get sections where it's like really thick. It's like bordering on bulky. It's like knocking on bulky's door. And then you get sometimes where it's knocking on DK's door. So it like really changes. It's like, what is that called? It's almost like knit collage-y idea, like, or like art yarn where it's like thicker, thinner, thicker, thinner. So some spots are much thicker than others. So, and it's not spun very tightly, so you can easily like pierce the yarn. So you have to be careful that you don't do that. So let me see. So like this, if I can figure out where I'm going. So that's pretty thick and fluffy and not really spun very much. And then there'll be like a super skinny section. So like this is like much skinnier for comparison. So to that. So you have that versus that. So, and it's kind of like that throughout. Kind of this like consistently inconsistent thing going along, but that is done. Also funny story about that shawl. So that shawl was supposed to be a Christmas gift for Christmas 2020. It's September. Granted, I did move states. I did lose track of the yarn at one point that I was going to use for that project. I had to dig through like multiple tote bags or like totes. Plastic. I have like all my yarn is in plastic totes still. Don't even get me started. But so granted, and I did lose track of like my needles and all that stuff. So granted, that happened. But still, it's September. Oopsie. It did take a while. But we got there. We got there. It's all good. It's all good. So this is my third, yes, my third shawl design that I've done. I've done multiple of the same design before, but this is the third shawl design that I've done, and the first by Andrea Maury, the first pattern that I've done by her. So that was awesome. I highly recommend though. It's very easy to like just memorize and just go with it. And like every other row, you're just knitting. It's just like a straight knit row. So, or a straight purl row. So it's just like alternating between knit and purl rows with like some slip stitches and things like that. going along in there. But once you get the pattern down, like, you're good. And it's basically the same pattern for the entire shawl. So once you like start it and you like figure it out, it's just figuring out what colors you're supposed to be using when. But if you do the Nora Wakari, it doesn't matter, because you use, like, you just keep using the two skeins forever. So it doesn't really matter. Aria's in here. She's sleeping. She got a giant spider toy for Halloween, and she's really excited about it. So if you hear a crinkling, it's the spider toy. Okay, so 2 weeks in a row, finished object. Awesome. So excited to have that done and off the needles. And hopefully I can mail it to her before it's like winter again. Because we're getting there. All right. So the main thing that I've been working on this week is my Avada Kedavra socks. So this is a vanilla sock pattern. So I'm doing the vanilla socks on Magic Loop pattern by Kay, the crazy sock lady. Why is this all messed up all of a sudden? What is happening? Don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so last week, I just had the cuff, and like, I didn't even have the cuff done. I had just started the cuff. So I was about here. So I've knit the rest of the cuff and all of the leg, and I've started on the heel flap. So this is just going to be a basic heel flap and gusset. I've done about 3 rows into the heel flap. So working on those. I'm planning on getting at least 1 done before the end of the month. But yeah, that's really coming along. Really loving this yarn. This is by Nicole C. Mendez. This is the first time that I've used her yarn. This is her sock base. Let's see. It's an 80-20, so virgin wool. It's not superwash. Virgin wool and nylon. And this is 100 grams, 400 meters, or 437 yards, in the Avada Kedavra colorway. And her website is nicolecmendez.etsy.com. So, loving this. This is going to be a Christmas gift for my partner because she loves green. And I think she'll really like it. So, these are just fun. Yeah. So, these are going along great. I'm knitting those on size 1 needles. I'm actually using the Knit Picks circulars, the nickel plated circulars, and I really like them, surprisingly. Sometimes the yarn does catch at the join where the cable meets the needle, which is kind of annoying. That's really the only issue that I have with them, but just, you know, give your yarn a tug and it'll be fine. So those are coming along. Again, I'm hoping to finish the heel flap today, and hoping to get working on the foot to hopefully get it done by the end of the week. Fingers crossed that I will have a hoe next weekend. Continuing this with socks, I worked a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, on these vanilla socks. Again, same deal. These are in size 0, or size 1, sorry. Knit Picks 32-inch circulars. That's what I've done since the last time, so just a little bit there. Just finished up the ribbing and started on the knit part of the sock. This is using Flotta Soca by Relana Garna in the Christmas colorway, I think. It's a 75-25. 100 grams, sorry, 100 grams, 420 meters, or 460 yards. So it's supposed to be a patterned yarn. I'm not really seeing the pattern yet, but I'm not that far into it, so we shall see. Otherwise, it's just going to be red, white, and green socks, and I'm totally cool with that because these are for Christmas as well, for my dad. So be working on those. And then the last thing I've been working on, so I'm just trying to use up my scraps. So anything that's a scrap or that's like not enough to really make anything out of, I've started a Cozy Memories blanket because, you know, why would I continue one of my whips when I can start a massive project? So the yarn that I've started this out, I had very little. I had 10 yards. That's what came with it. And so you do this on size 2 needles. And I tried doing it on DPNs, but my DPNs just weren't long enough. So I needed a cable to get this going. So these are on my Knit Picks 32-inch nickel plated size 2. And this was actually, I'll show you, it's actually sparkle base. This was a sample that I got from Miss Babs when I ordered something else. And it was just like a 10-yard sample of the yarn. And I was like, okay. So I started using this. Once I'm done with this, because there's not much left, there wasn't much to begin with, then I'm going to use this gray for the rest of it, for the rest of this square, and then the gray will get its own square. This is the leftover yarn from my shark mittens that I made. So this is Madeline Toshiro sock. And I don't know the name of this colorway. The gray is called Turn. So I'm working on that. This is the first time I've ever done a Cozy Memories, but basically it's going to end up looking like this. So like this is the side and the bottom, and then that's kind of the corner right there. So it's going to go zoop, and then this is just going to kind of fill in from there. I do have a progress keeper on here so that I know what side is the wrong side. So that's the side that I need to decrease on. This is a pumpkin juice. I figured it's fall. Let's do some pumpkin stuff. This is my pumpkin juice stitch marker from Simply Serving. It was a special kit that they had, or surprise pack that they had, where you got 3 different progress keepers with it. So I got this one, and then there was Crookshanks on a book, and Dobby were the 3 that came with it. So I figured it's fall, so let's do some pumpkin juice. Always love some pumpkin, and it's so cute. It even says pumpkin juice on there in the tiniest print. I don't know if you can see that. It's so adorable. So 10 out of 10. If you haven't checked out Simply Serving, I would. All of her stuff is great. So I've started that. I'm going to continue. It's just going to be one of those things, like when I'm not wanting to work on socks or when I'm not wanting to work on other things, then I'm just going to kind of come back to this and continue to make it. So I'm going to make a granny stripe blanket out of mini skeins that I haven't used it all. And then I'm going to make the Cozy Memories blanket out of scraps or things that I've used before, or just little things that aren't going to be enough to make a stripe on the granny stripe blanket. So hopefully it'll be good. So that is what I have worked on this week. I have yarn on order, but it has not showed up yet. So I'm still waiting. Oh my gosh. I go out to the mailbox. It's like the worst, right? Like I go out to the mailbox and I'm like, maybe today yarn will come. Because I have yarn coming from multiple places. I'm like, maybe today will be the day. And it is not the day. It has not been the day for a couple weeks, at least. So every time I get yarn, my partner, she just looks at me and she goes, 0 days since yarn. Because that's what her best friend stayed with us for a couple weeks, and that's what she would say when yarn would show up. She'd be like, 0 days since yarn. So it's been several days since yarn. It's been about a month, and man, I know, like, even when it gets here, it's gonna be like my intake of yarn is greater than my output of yarn. But it's okay, right? That doesn't matter. It's fine. So, I don't know. Just want all the yarn. It's shiny and beautiful. And I really want my Stephen West yarn because I want to start that MCal so bad. If you're going to be doing the Stephen West MCal, please, please, please comment below. I would love to do it with someone else. If you're interested in doing it, if you would like to have a Discord channel to chat about doing, like, while we're doing the MCal, I would love to do that. If there's, you know, somewhere else that you would like to chat, if you want to chat on Ravelry, I will start a thread for it. Like, I would love to chat with you guys about it. Let me know what you would like to do down in the comments below. Do you guys have any other big projects coming up? I would love to hear about what you're knitting. I'm always open to new ideas, especially as the holidays come around. So, and I'm part of this. There's a Facebook, there's a Ravelry group called the Harry Potter House Cup. Obviously, I'm in a Harry Potter group. And basically, we have classes where we have to knit things every month for the class to get points for our house. So I have things in the works. So like that square for my Cozy Memories blanket is going to be one of the things that I turn in for points. So yeah, so I have a lot of things knitting for that, as well as for gifts and for the Stephen West MCal and for our make along that we're doing right now. You know, I just really wanted to get this off the needles. That was my goal, and I did it, and I'm so happy with it. I want to see what you are making and what you are getting off your needles. If you would like to share those pictures, please put them on Instagram. I would love to see them, and remember to use the hashtag #finishitmal giveaway. One last thing before we go today. So I did say that we would have a giveaway at 20 subscribers. So in order to qualify for the giveaway, you must comment down below, and you must comment down below what your dream knitting would be. Like, if you had an endless budget, what is the project, and you had endless amounts of time to work on it, what is the project that you've always wanted to do? Or what is the project that right now you're like, I really, really want to do that? I want to know what it is that inspires you to knit, what projects inspire you to knit, and what projects inspire you to just, you know, really want to jump in and make them. So please comment down below. I will use random comment generator to pick a random winner next week. So please be on the lookout for that, and please watch next week so that you know if you've won, so that I can get that yarn mailed out to you. All right, well, that's going to be it for today. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. Happy knitting, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye now.